Hello everyone, it's Ask the Club time. I'm joined by the people who are here. To answer some of your questions, we're going to get stuck straight into it. Blaine Agard asks, is there a way to get clubs to take the FA Cup seriously again? Is there anyone who thinks there's anything beyond giving it a Champions League place? Is that a step too far? Is it possible to do it without going to that extreme?
5 of the top 6 are in the quarterfinals. How fucking more seriously do you want them to take it? We're probably gonna end up with the potential of the 4 semi-finalists being from the top 4 or 5 or 6. Yeah. So how more? What? Stop saying why don't people take it seriously? It's self-serving prophecy. Everyone takes it as seriously as they always has. It's a nonsense to say that they don't. It's just that now we have more TV channels, more TV programmes on telly. Baz is giving me a dirty look because I know what he's going to say. It used to have 9 hours of fucking programming for the FA Cup final. The reason they did that, because there was nothing else on to put on. Now you can have breakfast TV with fucking some chef nonce making nice food. That's why. It's nothing to do with the seriousness of it. We just have other things in our lives now.
Go on, buddy.
No, I agree now with your point. For now, I think you're looking at the teams left in it. They're quite clearly taking it seriously. You look at Chelsea, watched a bit of Wolves, Chelsea. Well, it was before I was cooking the tea on Saturday, and they had quite a strong side out. Chelsea teams are taking it. It did drop off for a few years. I think that teams are playing reserve sides almost in it and getting knocked out. But I think it's come back. I think teams are. In terms of the FA Cup final,
the more competitive the FA Cup becomes.
Exactly
that. I think you're right. I think this is a more pertinent question in January when you're talking about round 3 and round 4 to some extent. But I think now we're starting to look at it.
We didn't.
Because we didn't take it. I think where you look at exactly what I think you're dead right there, Chris. I think when there's teams now looking at it, and it goes back to the Spurs conversation we had on Monday, is that they're looking at going, well, we're not winning the league. Europe's going to be a stretch. I can go have a good fist at the FA Cup for another couple of games, 3 more games of football or whatever, and I could have a piece of silverware, have my name up on a big wall for history forever and ever and ever.
Do you know what would make it better? A winter break. Couple of weeks in December and January are chocker. There's loads of footy, right? There's just so much football. So if you had first couple of weeks of January off, and then you came back for the 3rd round, everyone would take that 3rd round seriously. Everyone would, because everyone would be refreshed. That'd be the first game back, and everyone would put a strong team out. It's because the Christmas period is so nuts that everyone has to rest players. You have to. You can't get through a whole series.
You drag yourself through, because that kind of happened with us. We got through that New Year period. We played 2 games in less than 48 hours. And then, like you say, lo and behold, and then we had the League Cup semi-final as well, and then there's just an FA Cup game in the midst of it, and you must think you're dragging yourself through. I mean, again, it goes back to the whole argument about footballers and woe is them, another game of football to play. But no, I think we've nailed that one there, lads.
The fans need to take it more seriously. Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, yeah, but don't start turning up to football. It's chicken and egg, isn't it? Stronger teams, you play weakened teams and then expect.
We want to win trophies. Surely, like everybody, you go to watch your team. Well, you hope you go to watch your team win a trophy, don't you? That's what you're watching football for. And God, we know it's been a long time since we've won a trophy.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because the next question comes from Isaiah Bright. 4 is which will happen sooner, Liverpool winning the league or Everton winning a trophy?
Everton winning a trophy.
I think it's Everton win a trophy as well, Ooh. I don't think they're far away from winning a trophy. I think Koeman's got a good side there. These will know better than me. I don't know why I'm talking, to be perfectly honest with you.
Objective.
I think that, we're at least a couple of years away, and I think Everton will be taking the Cups very, very seriously. So
I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that Everton will ever take the Cup seriously ever again.
I've gone on record of saying I don't expect Everton to win a trophy in my lifetime. But then I do crack quite often. So that impairs my judgment and also gives me a shorter lifespan.
Especially on the rambles in Barcelona.
Absolutely. Well, this is the problem, isn't it, with where we are now, is that us talking about winning a league title, it's just funny almost. It's like perversely funny to the point, because what's likely to change? We're as close to it, but we're closer than we were 3 years ago. Well, actually, no. We were second 3 years ago.
I don't think it. Either way, I think it could. The Premier League is in, like Baz said before, it's a top 6. It could easily go to a top 7 if we get our act together, and we've got everything in place to get our act together. That's just not just me saying that. We've got financial backing. We could have a new stadium, so there could be a mad flux where you don't get the same teams winning it every year. That it does. So the possibility of both could easily happen in the next 2 or 3 years.
That'd be great if it was 7. It'd be great if it was 20 teams and you didn't know, but what I mean is...
What's most likely to happen is you're going to win the League Cup one year and we'll win the league
in the same year.
Yeah. Just blow us out the water. That's always
happened all my life, Chris. I remember being at Man City, watching us beat fucking Man City 5-2, and then finding out Liverpool had beaten Tottenham 6-2 on the same day. It just happens. It always fucking happens.
So, we'll win the league, and then you'll win the European Cup the same year.
In answer to
a week
so
later,
therefore, in answer to the question on Chris's hypothetics, Everton will win a trophy before Liverpool.
But we'll win the league that season.
Since it's the EFL Cup final weekend, would a cup treble but outside top 4 finish be a successful season for Man United? Yes.
Yeah,
is the answer to that question. Now, but just to expand it, if Man United come home with just one piece of silverware, and actually, I think the Europa League carries a level of prestige with it. But if they just came home with the League Cup and finished outside the top 4, does Mourinho keep his job?
Yeah, Mourinho keeps his job, but that's not going to satisfy the owners or the sponsors who expect them to be in the Champions. Listen, Paul Pogba's advertising for Adidas only goes so far, and it has to be in the Champions League, doesn't it? If they were to win the Europa League and get in the Champions League that way, then that's sound. But they are a club that have to satisfy those sponsors. They get big bonuses through all their sponsors for being in the Champions League, so they have to be there. But Mourinho,
if they finish 5th in the Europa League, the 4th place team loses it, don't they?
No. I think they get an extra place for
5 Champions League places.
I believe so. That was what it was for us.
That
was what it was last season anyway. I don't know if that's it. People, please let us know in the comments if you're screaming at your laptop screens right now, going, "You fucking don't know, you're wrong." Just let us know in the comments, and someone will doubt us.
I've never had to worry about that, so I don't.
Being wrong.
I don't know. Just about that. About being in the Champions League.
That'll be the year we finish.
That'll be the year we finish 4th. Yeah.
I say that though. I remember because you were playing Europa League football, but back in the day when we were good enough to be in the Champions League, and I remember the first season we were in Europa, going to be Evertonian mates. What are these extra people with the sticks doing on the pitch? And Everton's like, oh, they're called extra officials.
Wait till you get them.
Listen, it's bad enough trying to. It's still bad enough trying to tell people that how if we finish 7th we can get Europa League, and you're like. This happens every year. Yeah. Why don't you? Well, what happens? I mean, if they win the cup and then and you fucking hell.
Right. Okay. We move on. Weird without stubble says, is Zlatan the best free transfer of all time?
No,
and we're going to
Tom Cleverley.
Count that within the Premier League just to narrow it down a little bit.
Martinez was linked with Arsenal over the weekend, wasn't he? Him and Thierry Henry. They come in as Stan Kroenke wants Thierry Henry and Roberto Martinez as his next
as Arsenal.
It's just because the best free transfer ever, obviously Tom Cleverley.
I'd rather be linked with bad
According to Roberto Martinez, Tom Cleverley was the best free transfer ever of the Premier League era.
Chris, you've actually done some research on this.
I think it was Gary McAllister, to be honest with you. 35 years old. 35 years old. I'm gone. Played 49 times and we won the treble.
Not even this week's thing.
We won the cup treble. This is why and there was something about a derby free kick in there as well, wasn't there? But no,
we won't talk about the handball.
Seriously though, it's about a legacy as well, isn't it? We only had him for a couple of years. He scored nearly 10 goals in about 90-ish games for us or something like that, which is incredible for a 36-year-old. At 36 years old, he gave a man of the match performance in the most balmy UEFA Cup final that's ever been. Not only that, he nurtured Steven Gerrard. People probably think he was, in some part, responsible for the way Steven Gerrard was as a footballer at Liverpool. Yeah. So there's a legacy element to it as well. But I did think about the Gary Mack stuff first. The best free transfer in the Premier League era is Paul Pogba to Juventus. Poor Manchester United.
if 800 grand's not.
Is it a free? Was he a free transfer?
No, it's 800 grand, man.
Don't he get a development fee or
development
something
fee.
like that? I don't know.
So if we're going to throw them out, you've got to have some accuracy behind it.
So some suggestions: Gianluca Vialli to Chelsea, Klinsmann to Spurs, Brad Friedel, Liverpool to Blackburn, Sol Campbell to Arsenal.
Can I just say, it's not the best, but Jurgen Klinsmann is an amazing one just for the Premier League as a whole. Spurs, great, they got a couple of good years out of him. They get 1 year and then got him back on loan. But for the Premier League, that was a huge statement getting Jurgen Klinsmann into the Premier League. He elevated the Premier League to that. We're not just going to sign 37-year-old has-beens, we're going to start signing 33-year-old has-beens. And then that age just started getting lower and lower and lower.
There was three, wasn't it? There was Hullett kicked it all off, really. And you had Vialli going to Chelsea, and the Klinsmann stuff was around that time as well. But you'd
Klinsmann and Hull at the same season.
Actually, no, I tell like Klinsmann might have been just before Hull. I have done this recently.
Hull was a year before
Klinsmann was
Vialli.
94.
94. Hull was 94 as well, wasn't he? No, it was 95. 95. Because his first game was at home against us at Stamford Bridge. I was there.
That 0-0.
It was 0-0. Yeah, and we just it was our first league game since winning the FA Cup.
Yeah,
so it was 95.
I like JJ Kocher at Bolton as well. Thought that was a brilliant free transfer. And another one at Bolton. I was going to say Kevin Davis. Because they got him for like 10 years, man.
Why are you
and he
on
was
this
brilliant for them, you know, helping establish Bolton as a Premier League side with JJ Kocher and some of the others. That Sam Allardyce did amazing things with Bolton, like, and the free transfers were all a part of it.
Yeah, completely agree.
And then he went on the fiddle and fucked it up for himself.
Michael Ballack. I mean, my memory of him at Chelsea is more him and Shevchenko making the debuts in the Community Shield against us, and Michael Ballack getting booted up in the air and never looked quite the same off the back of it. But he was amazing.
He just wasn't the player that he was.
Yeah.
What I liked about Ballack was that he came, couldn't have the 13 shirt, so they basically sold Gallas to Arsenal so he could have the number 13 shirt. I mean, you know, that's pushing the boat out, isn't it?
I think if you're talking about, like, you know, Campbell, Spurs to Arsenal and what he done at Arsenal, you've got to look at that and say, for the free transfer, it was incredible, wasn't it?
This comes about, I guess, off the back of like Zlatan. I think everyone's talking about Zlatan this season. I actually got a stat, I saw this on Twitter, that no Premier League players played more games in all competitions this season than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It's 36, level with Nathan Redmond.
24.
Zlatan could be the best free transfer ever, but he's not right now.
No.
Because he's not not.
I can't even think who would be ours.
Is it winning? Ours would be Gareth Barry.
Yeah, I'm not sure the winning thing's necessarily.
For free.
I think.
Well, when there's free transfers out there that have won stuff.
But I mean, you can be a free transfer and win stuff and be.
The thing is, if Zlatan goes to Manchester United and they don't win a Premier League in his time, then he's not the best free transfer because Manchester United need to win Premier Leagues.
But is he not?
But if he scores 20 goals a season for his 2 seasons there.
Then I'd rather be asking questions of why didn't he get a £30 million striker that fires into elite title.
No, but I think if you're talking, how are you defining the best ever? You're talking about value. You're talking about value. The fact you paid nothing for him, what you've received back from him. That's how I would look at it. You can look and go, you know, Chelsea have brought someone in on a free transfer this summer, but they win the league anyway, and he just happens to play a part in it. Or are you talking about if United win things this year, it'll be because of Ibrahimovic. Came off the bench against Blackburn and turned the game. He's done it.
I said that. Right now, he's not. He can be. But it's about them winning.
I'm not saying he is, by the way, but I'm just saying that's how I'd look at, and this isn't the best ever, but certainly, like you just said, for Everton's point of view, I'd say Gareth Barry for how well he's done for us. We got him for nothing.
Considering a guy who was, you know, he was a 20-30 million pound signing a couple of seasons before to get him for that and the service you've got at the back of it. Yeah. But again, it comes down to, I think a lot of it is just, I think it's that. I agree. I think if you can do it all and win stuff on top, it makes it no question, because if Zlatan fires them to the Europa League or a domestic cup double or something, then
if Zlatan scores 30 goals and they don't win anything, it's not that
hasn't devalued him, though, has it?
But it is. The free transfer signing is a success.
Yeah. The team isn't, but that is.
But then he's part of the team.
But in terms of just
to be a good transfer, you can't do well individually. You've got to do well as a team.
You agree?
I think it's all good. Also, though, He sells a lot of shirts.
I wasn't really paying
No,
attention.
I was thinking both sides have got really good points, and I agree with all. I'd say what's interesting about the Vialli one though is because he was a free transfer and he went on to manage the club as well. That's really profiting from it. Yeah. They wouldn't have had to pay anything for him to become the manager. Well. So that's another really good one. There was a really good
James Milner's a good one for us as well.
Shite. There was a good spell. There was a good spell in the end of like the 90s, wasn't there? Where and probably 97 where we were getting a lot of these older players, and what they added to the Premier League is, it's you just can't really say what it was because he added that even though they were older players.
We do it because we do the MLS stuff now, and you're looking at that's what they're trying. It's like seeing it 20 years after we done it. And Chris, you're on it regularly. We talk about that, don't we? And what the Premier League was able then to do was bring your Hull to 35 down to getting people in 27, 28. I was
watching one the other day about Zola and they brought these kind of players in and they were supposed to be getting the last couple of years out of them, and it re-energised them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You can say that about a lot of those players, like McAllister and that.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Now, let us know then your thoughts on who was the best free transfer to the Premier League of all time. Do you agree on the Zlatan points that he needs to do something more more quantifiable at the end of the season for him to be counted at it, or could you say definitively that it is him right now? Moving on then, this one more for you boys. Adam Rosybum says, did Lukaku deserve an Ultimate Team upgrade?
Of course he did.
Yes.
What's that?
The thing that's on FIFA.
Oh, FIFA's for nonsense, mate. It's all about Pro Evo. I lie.
Good point, well made.
Yeah.
What do you think, Barry?
You like FIFA?
Of course he did, because he's the second top goal scorer in the Premier League.
But here's my point on this, is that again, Lukaku's boss, he's boss, but is he not, it's not like disrespect, because he was tweeting saying, maybe Pro Evo will give me one and all this kind of stuff. Maybe they've just rated him. He's good, and he's rated good. He's pretty good on the game.
Yeah, but I think the problem you've got with FIFA
his
is
chemistry
if you
could be
look at
higher.
certain players on it, if he was in Chelsea's team, he'd be like 97. Whereas
you think?
he doesn't. Yeah, without a shadow.
What's his power shot like?
Yeah, like Adriano on PES 6.
Oh. Why do people care?
Because
I'm answering the question.
No. I'm
well, to be honest, this has come from because Romelu Lukaku actually tweeted.
Why does
himself.
he care?
Yeah.
Why does Rom care?
And I'll tell you why
he didn't care, did he?
He did.
Wasn't his tweet like, as long as I'm improving on the pitch, I'm not really arsed?
Yeah, but if you're
taking
taking the time out of your day
maybe
to do it,
Pro Evo will give me a hashtag.
It's like me thinks Lukaku doth protest.
Me thinks.
I'm totally not asked about this.
I
just thought I'd pick my phone up and let everyone know I'm not asked. Like,
and I'd put a hashtag about it.
And I'd create a hashtag pointing to the rival game who might give me one if they're nice. Like,
I don't think he really cares, to be honest. But then
taking the Michi Batshuayi.
But on the flip side, he's probably thinking, I need to be getting marketed on this a little bit better. Because the week before, there was a picture of him at Finch Farm with the shield thing saying how good he was.
But here's the thing with Lukaku, the only point I make on this is that how many goals did he score last season?
25.
So he's a 20-plus goal a season centre forward, and he has been for a few years. He's still that. Has he gotten? Is he actually any better at football?
Not many more.
I just think that's what I'm saying. Is that
what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do for you?
Carry on improving on the pitch.
Well, he is.
The reason people care is, I guess, I don't fully understand it myself, but I mean, if you're buying these players in, you want them to be worth more money. I think it doesn't improve. Actually, all the upgrades don't improve your existing players if you've got them in.
Doesn't it wind you up when you're playing FIFA and you know someone's good? If you've played FIFA and you know someone's good on the pitch, and then they've still got a shit rating, you do want.
Yeah.
All right, we're a little bit older, but for kids who've like their heroes and they watch their heroes play, you want them to. You want that familiarity, so you want to put them in the team. So let's just say like Tom Davies, you watch him have a great performance for us against Man City, and you go, "Oh, I'm going to play FIFA tonight. I'm trying to go to emulate him." Yeah. You put him in, and he's shit.
I'll give you the great lesson on it. The posters on the wall there is Pro Evo 2010. Liverpool were were featured team on Pro Evo in Pro Evo 2009 and Pro 2010. In 08-09, we were amazing. We finished second in the league, but we come from almost nowhere.
Yeah.
We ramped up, so our players didn't get very good ratings. And the next season after that, we were fucking shit. So the season after, Liverpool went down again. So all you want to be able to do is play as your best players and your favourite teams with the ratings that they deserve. Billy Robson _ says, in school playgrounds, which player did you try to be?
Good question.
It's a good question.
Good question.
First time you've heard it?
First time I've heard that. Yeah. Tried to be myself. No. I loved Adrian Heath growing up, and he was quite good at that time, and Everton were quite good at that time. So, and I was little, and I still am little, like Adrian Heath. So probably that type of player. I mean, people called me Maradona, but that was their way.
Well, listen, that was
that was just what they said. I was just happy with Adrian Heath. So
they do their own comparisons.
Yeah.
They were
Chris, what about you?
calling you Madonna.
It was Kenny
Smells
Dalglish
like
for me, like.
Yeah.
There was times I had good days and bad.
Kelly
the day when
Dalglish,
I
did you
thought
say?
I could be in Russian, the finisher, but I was never the finisher. I was always the guy. I like making assists. So it was always Kenny Dalglish.
Yeah. What about you, Pen?
Well, he sees me as a Peter Reid type, but I was never a Peter Reid type. I was always a centre forward or a winger. So, yeah, always.
So who did you try to be?
I tried to be the best
Daniel
version of
Amokachi.
myself I could be. That's all I'm going to say.
Steve Guppy, someone like that.
Steve Guppy.
Rick Holden.
David Beckham. You know, just plays like that. An Everton player.
How old were you in the playground?
Well, you know, mate, I was kept behind, wasn't I, obviously? I just kept on going back. Any Everton centre forward. Any Everton centre forward or winger.
What about you, Paul? Thought you never asked.
Yeah, no, yeah. It depends. The thing we used to do more than anything else is like you'd reenact matches and whatever, so you pick a team. So like I remember the 90s, like when like Forest were dead cool for that little period where they had Keane and Collymore and that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean, you'd be that
Brian
team.
Roy.
So you'd shout the player names out when you had the strike and stuff like that. Like, but it's more like you try to recreate goals and whatever. So practicing like Shearer volleys and screaming Shearer as you hit it and stuff like that was more.
It was David James, wasn't it?
More sadly, it was David James.
Please have a good game. That must be really annoying. Do that one again. I didn't quite catch it like Shearer.
Yeah, I know.
You'd have games where you just played.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, of course. What I mean is in terms of trying to be someone and doing like that. That was a separate thing that we do. Like,
Heads and volleys and raw ass.
And you'd shout the player name as you hit the ball.
Angel!
I remember doing the Chris Waddle Bradford celebration when he knocked out the FA Cup, and he did all this because all my mates were Evertonians, were doing that in the park. Because he was a belter of a goal, like one he scored from like the halfway line. And then doing that mad, that was good fun. Let us know who did you used to be on the Schoolyard. Let us know in the comments below if you've enjoyed Ask the Club. Check back later on this week. We're working through the all-time Premier League 11. This week we're picking centre backs. We're revealing who the best right back of all time is, and it's going to be a phenomenal show. If you haven't subscribed already, click the Ball Street emblem and do so right now.